Hey, this is Max here. In this tutorial, I want to show you how you can keep your list clean inside ActiveCampaign. It's something really important. Not so many marketers are doing it, but they really should. So I want to share some cool strategies, and I also want to do some cool implementation. We're going to build some automations to automatically do all this. So let's dive right in. So first I want to talk about why you should keep your list clean. Like, why should you do this at all? Like, the more subscribers, the more contacts you have, the better, right? Well, in some way that's true, but it's not always the case. So here are a couple of reasons why I think it's important to keep your list clean. Now, first, an important one related to money is that you're basically wasting it. Like, if you have a lot of contacts on your list that are just there and not opening any of your emails, then you're basically wasting money, because most email service providers, or almost any email service provider, charge for the number of email subscribers that you have. So here, for example, we're on the ActiveCampaign website. You see that if you have 5,000 contacts, you pay $69 for the light plan. If you have 2,500 contacts, you see that you pay 39, and if you have like 1,000, you pay 17. So in some way, it's like beneficial to keep your numbers low. So obviously you want to have like as many subscribers as possible, but if they're just there on your list for nothing, you also pay for nothing, because they will never like give you a return on investment. Basically, like, they will probably never purchase anything from you. Now, the second reason is that you are hurting something. It's a very hard word for me to say, but it's that you're hurting your deliverability. So some email providers like Gmail, they push your emails into their spam box or promotion folder if they see that only a fraction of the people is opening your emails. So if you're sending an email to 1,000 people, and of those 1,000 people, only 20 people open your email, then for Gmail, that's like an important sign, or like a red flag, that they're like, this is probably not so relevant for everyone that this email has been sent to. We should maybe throw this in the promotion folder or in their spam box even. So this is really important. Like, you have to keep your list clean. You have to send only emails to people who they're relevant to. Now, then the third reason is that you have better data to work with. So for example, most of my campaigns I have like a 40 to 60% open rate, and sometimes even up to 70 or 75%, which is really high, especially if you look at the industry average of 23%. And honestly, I don't think that's because my emails are extremely amazing. Like, I really try to make them super valuable, but I don't think they're good enough to triple the industry average. And what I want to say with this is that maybe you have emails, you're sending out emails, and maybe you're wondering, like, why is nothing happening? Why are my open rates so low? Why do I not get any interaction or replies or whatever? And that's maybe not because your emails are not good. Maybe it's just because the people on your list are just shit. Like, maybe the list quality is just not so good. So if your list quality is better, then obviously your open rates will be like higher, like the percentage will be higher, because you're sending it only to people who it's relevant to. Now, then the fourth reason is because you do not want to annoy people, right? Like, I think it's pretty annoying if you would receive an email from a person over and over again, and you keep just not opening it. You just throw it into your spam folder right away. Like, that's pretty annoying. So you just want to make sure that these people do not get your emails. Now, then I want to talk about the how. So we're going to implement some really cool things. Like, how can you keep your email list clean? So I have a few different strategies. Some are simple, some are a little bit more techy, but I'll just explain them step by step. Now, the first one is that you have to track the last email open. And I'm surprised that ActiveCampaign doesn't have this like natively in their platform. You have to set this up yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a custom field called last interaction. And then we're going to create an automation that automatically updates that custom field when an email is opened. And then if they didn't open any emails for 6 months, and it's like already a really long time, you could also consider changing it to maybe 3 months. And then we're automatically going to unsubscribe them. So let's get started with that. So first we have to create a last interaction custom field. So you see that I already did that here, and I put it in the engagement group. So something really handy that you can do in ActiveCampaign is that you can create groups for your custom fields. So first, go over to add group and call it engagement or something else, but I thought engagement is like good and relevant. And then you have to create a custom field called last interaction. You put it in your engagement group and you set the field type to date. It's very important that you set it to date because otherwise it's not going to work. And then you click add. Now I already have it here. And then we go over to our automations. So click this automation, and then we're going to create a new automation. And then we're going to start from scratch. And then we will trigger this automation when someone opens or reads an email. And then we're going to click continue when close open email. And then you want to select any email, any list, and you want to change this to multiple times. So that means that every time an email is opened, no matter on which list they are, we will trigger this automation. It will start every time over and over and over and over again. So then we're going to click add start. And then we give it a name. We just say update last interaction. And then it's actually really simple automation. Then we're going over to contacts, update the contact. And then you go over to your last interaction field. And the new content should be the current time. Now, I'm not sure why they say current time here, because it's actually the current date that we're going to add in there. But if you set it to the current time, it will work. Then we're going to click save. And then we're going to end the automation. And that's basically it. Every time someone reads an email, last interaction will be sent to current time. Now, one more thing that I want to do is I also want to start this automation when somebody clicks a link in an email. So any email, any list, any link, multiple times at start. Now, why do we do an open email and like email opens and link clicks in emails? Is because sometimes a very, very small percentage people block that you can see that they open their emails, but then link clicks are always measured because it's like a special ActiveCampaign link. So ActiveCampaign will always know an email is like that there was a link click inside that email. So in both of these cases, last interaction will be updated with the current date. So then we're going over to automations again, and we're going to create a second automation. Create automation, start from scratch. And then we want to trigger this based on a date. Continue. And then we say, how long did we say here? So 6 months, right? 6 months, 6 months after the last interaction. And we're going to check this daily. And I want to check it at 10 in the morning in the contact's time zone. Now, when this all matches, and I want to check if they're not currently in this automation. And this is still called automation 11 because I did not give it a name yet. And then we're going to click add start. And this will be our main list cleaner. So this is the automation we're going to use for all the other strategies here as well. Now, what we want to do then is we want to send an email, create a new email, and then we call it falling out of love, create. Now, and then I'll write that email super quick so that you get an idea of what could be in that email. So we basically just want to let them know like, hey, you're about to get unsubscribed. Please reply now if you want to stay. So what I'm going to do here is say like, hey Max, didn't hear from you for a while. I just wanted to check if you would still like to receive my emails. If yes, reply now with I'm engaged. Talk soon. Then it's my signature variable. This is like my name. And then we have PS. Reply now with, we just say reply now if you would like to receive my emails, because there was some study that they said most people start reading the PS. So we just repeat the call to action there. So it's like a super simple email, right? So here we just let them know, hey, we didn't hear from you for a while. Reply now if you want to keep receiving my emails. Now, why do we ask people to reply? That's because replies are like a really good sign. Like if Gmail sees like, hey, this person is getting lots of replies, or this person replied to that email, then they have like a little signal that says like, okay, we should not throw this in the spam folder. So this is just some kind of future guarantee that it's less likely that you land in the promotion folder. And then we're going to click next. And then we have to enable reply tracking so that ActiveCampaign knows when someone replies. And then we're going to click finish. Now, then we have to wait a bit, and then we click save. And then we're going to wait for, or like wait until has replied to falling out of love. Save. And we're also going to add a time limit to that. So we're going to wait for 7 days. So we give someone 7 days the time to reply to that email. If they didn't reply after the 7 days, they will probably never reply, right? And then we're going to check with an if else if they replied to that email. Falling out of love, add. All right. So now if they replied, we just end the automation. If they did not reply, then we're going to send an email. This is a really short one. It's called bye. And then we're going to create email by, now, well, let's also use their name in lower case. So it says bye Max. So it's like people will be like, why do I get this email? And then it says, hey Max, I just wanted to let you know that you got automatically unsubscribed. If you would like to join the list again, just let me know. PS, sorry to see you go. No, something like that. Then we click next, and then we click finish. And then we end the automation. But first, almost forgot, we have to unsubscribe them from all our lists. Click OK. And then we end the automation. So we could create another automation there to see if they reply to that email. But most of the people will never even see that email because they already have not seen your emails for so long. So I would not worry too much about that. And then if someone replies to the email, you just throw them back on the list, right? So that's our first method. So this took the longest. The next ones are going to be a bit quicker because we do not have to build everything from scratch again. Now then we also want to send that email, the falling out of love email, to people who did not open emails for 30 days after they subscribed. So you have a new subscriber, they got some kind of download or content upgrade, and they did not open any emails in the first 30 days. Now, then we just want to unsubscribe them, right? So what you want to do is you want to go over to your main list cleaner automation, add a new trigger, and then we're going over to date based. And by the way, again, you can find all these automations in the description below. You can just import them, and then you also do not have to create these whole things again, but still it's important to know how they work, right? So here we're going to say 30 days after the subscription date, list main list. So you have to select this for your list. So if you have multiple lists, you should add this trigger multiple times. But I think it's really important to only have 2 lists. I'll have a whole separate video about that. I will link in the card up there to that video. But for this one is for the main list. And then we're going to check daily at 10 a.m. in the context time zone. And now this you just leave as is. And then we're going to say here, not currently in automation main list cleaner, and has not opened any campaign or email at start. And then they also get the falling out of love email. We wait for 7 days. If they reply, they will automatically exit the automation. If they do not, then they get the buy email and we unsubscribe them from all our lists. So that's the second method. Then the third one, and that's a really cool one, I think, is to create an engagement threshold. So this is something that I came up with. I'm a little bit proud of it because I think it works incredibly well. So what you have to do is you have to create a custom field called engagement threshold. And then we're going to increase this field every time we send an email by 1. And then as soon as they open an email, we set this custom field back to 0. And then when that custom field reaches 10, we know they did not open any emails for 10 times in a row. And then we want to unsubscribe them. So go over to your fields, manage fields, and add a new field and call it last interaction, and add it to your engagement group and leave this to text input and add it to your fields. Now I already have it, so I'm not going to do it again. Oh, here it is. So then what we want to do is we want to create a new automation. And this is just an example to show you how you can increase that field every time. So we're going to create an automation, create, and then we are not going to trigger this. So this is an example, right? So imagine here we have an email, interesting email, we'll just call it. And then we're just going to click save here. We're not going to write anything. So then every time an email is sent like this inside an automation, we want to increase that custom field, right? So what you want to do is you want to add a math block before or right after that email. So what do we do here is I'm going to look for engagement threshold and then we add 1 to it. Click save. So now every time an email is sent, at least every time this email is sent, for that contact, the engagement threshold will be increased by 1. So if you, for example, are going to send another email a week later, then again, you perform the math, you do engagement threshold plus 1, and then you send your email. And you have to do this in all your automations. Every email you send, before you send it, increase the engagement threshold by 1, because only then this method will work. So every time we send an email, we increase that custom field by 1. Now, we'll call this example of sending emails. And then we go over to automations, because now we want to reset the engagement threshold as soon as an email is opened. So I'm going to click here, opens or reads an email, any list, multiple times at start. And then the first step is going to be that we update a contact engagement threshold to 0. And then the automation is already almost done. We end the automation. And I call it update engagement threshold. So what happens now is that every time someone reads an email, the engagement threshold will be set to 0. And then also here, just to be sure, also when someone clicks a link, any email, any list, any link, multiple times at start, then we're also going to reset the engagement threshold in case someone is blocking the tracking script of ActiveCampaign. So only a very, very small amount of users does that, but cannot hurt to do that. So every time an email is opened, or every time someone clicks a link inside an email and they have to open it, right, to like click a link in an email, we reset the engagement threshold to 0. So now you know that if the engagement threshold reaches 10, then they did not open any emails for 10 times in a row. So then we go to our main list cleaner. We add a new trigger. You can probably already guess it. When a field changes, here engagement threshold, when it changes from any value to a specific value, 10, and then every time the contact is added or updated and is not currently in the automation main list cleaner, this automation will start. So what happens now, right, what we basically just did is every time we send an email, we increase the custom fields by 1. If they open an email at whatever time of day, or basically whenever, we will reset it back to 0. So if we send an email and we send an email and we send an email and we basically do it 10 times in a row and they do not open anything, then this automation will start. Now, one thing that we have to add here is a little delay basically, because the engagement threshold is changing as soon as we send an email, right? So imagine we sent a newsletter and by chance that is the 10th time we sent an email, the 10th time that it did not open anything. So we do not want to send that email right away and then also the falling out of love email. So what we want to check is first, we have to check if the engagement threshold is greater than or equal to 10. And then we have to drag this to the no path. Because then there we can add like a little delay basically. And everyone with last interaction or the like 30 days after they subscribed, they did not open anything, they will like follow that no path. Okay, let me see. ActiveCampaign takes a bit long to load. Let me just refresh this page, see if that's working. Yes. All right. Okay, so let me say that again. So 6 months after the last interaction, automation will start. 30 days after the subscription date and they did not open any campaign, then the automation will start. And also when they ignore 10 emails in a row. And then we do not want to send the falling out of love email right away for the people that didn't open any emails for 10 times in a row. There, we are first going to wait until the engagement threshold is less than 10 for up to 4 days. And then we're going to click save. And then after that, with another if else, we're going to check, is the engagement threshold less than 10? If yes, then we know that that person opened the 10th email. So we do not want to send our falling out of love campaign. Now, if it is not less than 10, then we know that person didn't open any emails still. So what we want to do is we want to go to the falling out of love email. So I hope you still get it. I know this is slowly getting a bit more complicated, right? But so people ignored our emails 10 times in a row. They start the automation, and because we do not want to send the falling out of love email right away, because we just also sent another email, another automation, we want to check if the engagement threshold is greater than or equal to 10. If that's the case, we want to wait for 4 days until that's like less than 10. Because if they then open that email suddenly, it's not so likely, but if they do it, then we do not want to start this automation. Because then we're going over with the engagement threshold, we will start back at 0. So if the engagement threshold is less than 10, we just end the automation. If it's not, then we send our falling out of love email. And that is our third method to keep your email list clean inside ActiveCampaign. Now, then the last two are pretty easy, not some fancy implementation, but that is that you have to make it super easy to unsubscribe. So I hate it. I really hate it when people hide their unsubscribe link. If you're doing that, please, please, please stop doing that. It's just not ethical. Like, I don't think we should be shitty marketers who hide the unsubscribe link. If someone does not want to have your emails anymore, then you should actually be happy that they tell you that they do not want to have their emails anymore, because otherwise you go back to reason number 1 till 4, and it is that you're like wasting your money, hurting deliverability, you have beta data to work with, and people get annoyed. Make it super duper easy to unsubscribe. Just very clear, start with your unsubscribe link somewhere. Do not hide it under a gazillion returns or something, all right? Now, then the last one is permission-based marketing. I learned this from Seth Godin. He wrote a book with the same subject I thought it was 1999, like a really long time ago. But it's a lot about that you only send people who actually want to receive it, and that by doing that, you will win their trust, and people buy from people they trust. Now, I also said it here, you'll win people their trust because you're not one of those shitty marketers, and people buy only from people they trust. And people that explicitly said they want to receive your emails are much more likely to open them. Now, what do I mean with all this? I mean that as soon as someone is like signing up for your list, that you do not spam the crap out of them if they did not tell you to spam the crap out of them. So if somebody is downloading like a checklist, you should ask if it's okay to send more emails after they do that. Or you should be very upfront about like, hey, join my list and get my checklist or something like that. But do not tell people like, hey, fill out your email address to get a checklist and then send them like a billion emails to try them to convert. Like, just Google on permission-based marketing. There are like lots and lots of articles about that. But just want to make sure that you have people there consent to send more emails. And that was this whole tutorial about like keeping your list clean. So again, all the automations that we just created, I will put them in the description box down below so that you can just easily import them and do this in ActiveCampaign yourself. And I really hope that, this is going to help you to basically like increase your deliverability, to get better data to work with, to not annoy people, and also save some money so that you do not go on like higher plans with email service providers. So if you have any questions about this, just let me know below. And if you want to see more marketing automation tutorials, then hit that subscribe button and also give it a little thumbs up. That would help me a lot. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.